Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hunting the Dead channel. In the world of true crime and paranormal, we search for motive, money, jealousy, power. But what if the answer isn't that simple? What if the true culprit isn't even human? What if it's a curse? Tonight we journey beyond the motive, beyond evidence, into the shadows where tragedy repeats itself over and over again. This is the story of families that didn't just grieve their dead. They feared they were next. They whispered of demons. They warned of spirits. And they believed in a darkness that ran through their bloodlines. These are the true crime cases where the family didn't blame a killer. They blamed a curse. So get ready, because what you're about to see may just haunt you long after the video ends. So right now I need you guys to smash that thumbs up, comment below, share this on social media, because we're about to get into the video. Now, let's dive into the Bell family curse.
The Bell Witch haunting, time frame 1817 to 1821, Adams, Tennessee. With family at the center, the Bell family, led by patriarch John Bell Sr., a farmer and respected member of the local Baptist church, the beginning of the unseen force. In the fall of 1817, John Bell Sr. noticed a strange-looking animal in his cornfield, a creature with the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit. He fired at it, but it vanished. That same night, strange knocking and scratching sounds began on the walls of the Bell cabin. Over the next several weeks, these disturbances escalated into chains dragging, wings flapping, and what sounded like choking and gasping noises in the dark. The spirit takes a voice. As the entity grew stronger, it began to speak. It initially mimicked the voices of the Bell family, then developed its own clear, disembodied female voice. The entity identified itself as Kate and claimed to be a spirit sent to kill John Bell. Kate recited Bible verses, sang hymns, and even predicted future events. It held long, spirited conversations with visitors, including skeptical neighbors who left thoroughly convinced of its presence, targeting the Bells. While the entire Bell family witnessed the haunting, two members were especially affected. Betsy Bell, youngest daughter. She was physically abused by the spirit. Betsy was slapped, pinched, stuck with pins, and her hair was pulled violently. The spirit would scream at her not to marry her fiance, Joshua Gardner, and grew increasingly violent as their courtship continued. John Bell Sr., the entity, despised him and often called him Old Jack Bell. It cursed him constantly and vowed to bring about his death. Bell developed mysterious illness, including seizure-like symptoms, and his health steadily declined. President Andrew Jackson's visit. In 1819, General Andrew Jackson, who would later become president, heard about the Bell Witch and decided to investigate. He traveled to the Bell property with a group of men, including a supposed witch tamer. As the men approached the farm, their wagon reportedly froze in place despite strong horses. Jackson allegedly declared by the internal boys, "It is the witch." Later that night, Jackson's men claimed to be physically assaulted and mocked by the spirit. The next morning, Jackson insisted on leaving, saying he had enough of the Bell Witch. The death of John Bell, the spirit's victory. On December 20th, 1820, John Bell died. A vial of black liquid was found in the cupboard. The spirit claimed,
"I gave old John a big dose of that last night, and that fixed him."
The liquid was tested on a cat, which died instantly. The vial was thrown into the fire and exploded in blue flames. At Bell's funeral, the entity interrupted the ceremony, laughing and singing dark, dark songs. Eventually, Betsy Bell broke off her engagement to Joshua Gardner in 1821. So here's some theories. Supernatural entity. Many believe the spirit was real, either a poltergeist, a witch, or a demonic force. But let's talk about the neighbor feud. Some say it was the result of a local land dispute, possibly involving a neighbor named Kate Batts, who was rumored to be a witch. So here is the hunting the dead theory, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe in witches. I do believe in witchcraft. And I do believe the Bell Witch story has a lot of truth to it. I believe demons were involved, but I also believed they could have been conjured, summoned to this area, to this particular individual and individuals, and I believe this all unfolded at will. You have to remember, not every death is publicized. Not every tyrant is known. Most witches work and lurk right among us. Some are your doctors, some are your librarians. The truth is, it's said that somebody only needs a piece of your hair in order to curse you, or as simple as lighting a candle and sticking your intention in it to burn. So was that the case for the Bell Witch?
Let's talk about the Kennedy curse.
Whether some awful curse did actually hang over all the Kennedys.
The Kennedys were more than just a political family. They were American royalty, glamorous, powerful, adored. But behind the polished smiles and Camelot mythos was a shadow, a pattern of devastating loss so persistent it became known as the Kennedy Curse. It all began with Joseph P. Kennedy, a wealthy businessman with political ambitions. He envisioned a legacy of power that would stretch across generations. His sons were his chosen instruments. Joseph Jr., John, Robert, Ted, groomed for greatness. In 1944, Joseph Kennedy Jr., the eldest, dies in a fiery plane crash in World War II during a secret mission. In 1948, Kathleen "Kick" Kennedy perishes in a plane crash in France. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy is assassinated in Dallas. A nation watches in horror as the dream shatters on live TV. In 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy is gunned down in Los Angeles during his presidential campaign. In 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren die when his plane crashes into the Atlantic. Over and Over again, the family was struck down in their prime, not in war, not by illness, but through violence, scandal, and sudden catastrophe. Senator Ted Kennedy survives a car accident that kills Mary and Chappaquiddick. The scandal nearly ends his career.
Tonight I am free to tell you what happened on Chappaquiddick Island. I left the party around 11:15 p.m., nor was I driving under the influence of liquor. Little over 1 mile away, on an unlit road, had no guardrail, car overturned in a deep pond. Repeated efforts to save Mary Jo into the strong and murky current. The fact that I did not report the accident to the police. Effort to dive down and locate Kopechne. Their strenuous efforts undertaken at some risk to their own lives. Whether some awful curse did actually hang over all the Kennedys. In the morning, with my mind somewhat more lucid, I made an effort to call a family legal advisor and then belatedly reported the accident to the Martha Vineyard police.
And some believe it sealed the fate of the Kennedy line politically. Was it fate? Or something more? Was this simply coincidence or a curse? Some whisper of karmic retribution, others of political enemies lurking in the shadows, but darker theories still have emerged. A voodoo curse? One story claims the Kennedys were cursed after patriarch Joseph Sr. was involved in shady business in Haiti, arranging local mystics and invoking a voodoo curse on his bloodline. Another theory suggests that the Kennedy compound was built on land once sacred to native tribes. Disturbing the land, some say, brought a generational reckoning. Numerology patterns. JFK was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963. 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 equals 23. RFK assassinated June 6, 1968. 6 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 8 equals 36. JFK Jr. dies July 16, 1999. 7 plus 1 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 equals 42. Some point to repeating numerical patterns around the dates of death. Numbers like 23 and 11 show up often in tragedies tied to the Kennedys, adding fuel to theories of preordained fate. Were the Kennedys simply cursed victims of power, fame, and politics? Or is there something darker woven into their bloodline? Whatever the truth, the name Kennedy still echoes in America, equal parts greatness and ghost story. So here is my theory, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe in karma, and I do believe that sometimes shit just happens. It's unfortunate, it can be unfair, but you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and because of somebody else's mistake, you can pay with your life. I think that we may be looking at a case of extreme bad luck. But one thing we do know for sure is there's too much evidence to ignore, and there has been a lot of things that have happened to the Kennedys.
Ooh, now we're going to talk about one of my favorites, the Amityville Curse.
People were killed in an awful mass murder.
On the night of November 13th, 1974, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. walked room to room in his Dutch colonial home in Amityville, New York, and murdered his entire family, his parents, and 4 younger siblings as they slept. He claimed Demonic voices compelled him to do it.
There was nothing but bad in that house. I was going to burn it to the ground. That's the truth. Anybody buys that house and got kids and move in there? Come
The
on, man.
house, soaked in blood, would soon earn its place in American horror folklore. Just over a year later, newlyweds George and Kathy Lutz moved in with their 3 children. The house was a bargain, fully furnished. But what followed over the next 28 days would become one of the most infamous modern hauntings ever documented. It started small. Strange cold spots, windows slamming, shutting on their own, foul odors with no source. But quickly, the horror escalated. George became distant, obsessed with the fire. He claimed he was being watched, manipulated. He would wake up every night at 3:15 a.m., the exact time that the DeFeo murders occurred. He said a dark force took hold of him, that he would feel rage and confusion as if something was crawling inside his mind. They claimed Kathy levitated while sleeping. Doors were ripped from hinges. Green slime oozed from the walls. A crucifix on the wall twisted upside down. Even their young daughter spoke of a demonic pig named Jody that watched her from the window. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this sounds pretty familiar. We've seen a lot of these things in horror films in many different variations. But when I'm reading this story, when I'm telling this story, I feel like there is a truth that exists beyond the cinema. Ed Warren said,
"This was no ordinary haunting. There was a true evil in that home. Something inhuman."
Lorraine Warren said,
I felt immediately a presence, a deep darkness. It was the closest I had ever felt to a demonic infestation.
The Warrens performed a psychic investigation and declared the house dangerously haunted. The Lutz fled the home after just 28 days, leaving everything behind.
So many people had died. A young family fled, leaving everything. It's like you're in somebody's home.
They wouldn't take one thing because the priest told them not to take anything out of there with them.
Their story captivated the world and inspired the best-selling book, The Amityville Horror, and the numerous film adaptations. Lawsuits were filed over the rights to the story. The Lutz underwent polygraph tests and passed. Their stories were absolutely true. George and Kathy eventually divorced in 1988. Skeptics and investigators suggested it was a hoax, fueled by a desire for fame and profits. Some say it was mass hysteria. Others blame residual trauma from the house's violent past. But the Lutz never backed down from their story, insisting until their deaths that what happened at 112 Ocean Avenue was terrifyingly real.
Something unseen. Investigators got there. There's never any reasonable explanation.
We were subjects of a polygraph test. Passed with flying colors.
So the big question is, was it a hoax? Or did something truly evil dwell within those walls? The Amityville Curse remains unsolved and unforgettable. Now let me tell you my theory. I 100% believe these people were dealing with something. Now, do I believe that it was dark? Or do I believe that it was a spirit playing with their emotions, manipulating their spirit power to manipulate these people? It is very possible. Imagine if you and I died today, we're on the other side. For some reason, we haven't went to hell or heaven, and we're just kind of stuck in between, right? We're here in purgatory. Well, just imagine that you're stuck in this house, and now people are living in this house that you died in, and you're thinking, man, what could I do to pass time? Why not mess around with people? Turning a cross upside down would probably make people shit their pants. So I kind of see this situation like that could be something that happened. Or maybe they were dealing with the real demon. I believe in that stuff too. I believe I have witnessed dark, evil happenings. So, what are your thoughts? And I would love to read them in the comment section below. But before we get there, we still have another story.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the Jameson family.
Possession, murder, or something worse, maybe a curse. They vanished in the middle of the day while house hunting. No signs of struggle, no signs of life. Their truck found abandoned. Their dog still inside. But the strangest part, a security camera showed them walking back and forth like they were in a trance. Tonight, I'm telling the chilling story of the Jameson family and the theories that suggest they weren't just lost, they may have been possessed or cursed.
Maybe they just didn't want to be found.
October 8th, 2009, Bobby and Cheryl Lynn Jameson pack up their truck with their 6-year-old daughter, Madison. They tell family they are headed to look at a 40-acre plot of land deep in the Oklahoma mountains near Red Oak. But they never come home. 8 days later, their white pickup truck is found. Inside, they find a GPS, $32,000 in cash, IDs, wallets, and their dog still alive, but barely hanging on. But the Jamesons? Gone. No blood, no signs of a struggle. Just absolutely gone. Before they left, a surveillance camera captured something disturbing. The family is seen making dozens of silent trips between their house and the truck, back and forth, back and forth.
Colleges watched them going back and forth and automatically told me drugs.
Back and forth, not talking, not looking at each other, almost like zombies. Cheryl Lynn is seen carrying a brown briefcase. It was never found. Bobby clutches something under his arm. His handgun, maybe? That was never found either. Were they being watched? Threatened? Or were they under the influence of something darker? Before their disappearance, Bobby and Cheryl Lynn told friends something strange was happening in their home. Cheryl Lynn wrote in a journal that spirits were visiting Madison at night. Bobby told a pastor their house was haunted by 2 or more ghosts. He said he saw them and he was planning to perform an exorcism. Even stranger, they believed they were being attacked by witches and claimed that Cheryl Lynn was practicing witchcraft herself to protect the family. There were reports of a satanic Bible found in the home. Was it a prop or something more? In 2013, 4 years later, hunters discover skeletal remains in the woods just 3 miles from where the truck was found. It was Bobby, Cheryl Lynn, and Madison. Their bodies were found lying face down, side by side. No trauma, no gunshot wounds, no clear cause of death. Madison's skull was slightly separated, but authorities couldn't confirm if it was foul play involved. Autopsies were inconclusive. The Jamesons died in the forest, and no one knows how. Was it murder? Some say they were meeting someone for a drug deal that went wrong. Others believe they were involved in a cult. There are even theories that they starved themselves on purpose, believing they ascend into another world. But then there are those who think it was possession, that the strange behavior, the cash, the missing gun, the security footage wasn't paranoia, it was a spiritual attack. The truth may be buried with them. 3 lives, a trail of secrets, and a mystery the forest never gave back. If you believe this story deserves more attention, like, subscribe, and comment below. Do you think the Jamesons were victims of foul play or something far, far more terrifying?
Andrea Yates, madness or curse?
Some say it was madness. Others believe it was the influence of something far, far darker. Today, we are diving into one of the most heartbreaking and disturbing true crime cases in modern American history, Andrea Yates.
What's your name? Andrea Yates. What's the problem? I just needed to call. Is your husband there? No. What's the problem? I need him to come. I need to know Barbara Cottonmouth. Is she there standing next to you? She? Or me? Are you talking to Sonny? Are you Jill or what? He'll come here. You need an ambulance? No, I need a police officer.
This is not just a story about a mother's breakdown. It's about religious fear, mental illness, possible spiritual delusion, and the question that still haunts us. Was it postpartum psychosis, or was Andrea cursed? Andrea Yates waits until her husband Rusty leaves for work. One by one, she walks each of her 5 children into the bathroom. She drowns them: 7-year-old Noah, 5-year-old John, 3-year-old Paul, 2-year-old Luke, 6-month-old Mary. Places them gently on the bed. When police arrive, she tells them plainly,
I killed my children.
She doesn't run. She doesn't hide. She believes she was doing God's work. Andrea Yates had battled severe mental illness for years, diagnosed with postpartum depression and psychosis. She had been hospitalized for it many times. They say she heard voices, that she believed Satan was inside her. She was actually convinced her children were going to grow up damned unless she saved them. She believed that she saved them by killing them. In court, Andrea told the jury,
It was the right thing to do.
She truly believed her children were going to hell, and she believed that in death they would be saved. But here is where it gets darker. Andrea just didn't suffer from illness. She was raised in a household filled with rigid fear based on religion. Her husband, Rusty, deeply religious, believed they should have as many children as God would allow. They lived in a converted bus for many years, isolated, poor, pressured. They followed the teachings of a preacher named Michael, who preached fire and brimstone, claiming most people were hellbound. Andrea, already fragile, spiraled into fear, visions, voices, believing that her children had become corrupted. This wasn't just mental illness, it was delusion wrapped in doctrine. Some people ask, why didn't anyone stop this? Andrea had already tried to kill herself twice. She told doctors she had thoughts of harming her children, yet she was left alone with all 5 of them.
You know, the person that drowned those children is not Andrea.
Others ask, was this a spiritual attack? Eyes, her voice, her words in court. Some believe Andrea was possessed, not by a demon, but by the crushing weight of shame.
I don't blame her a bit, and that's people find that just outrageous, I know, but I don't.
Was it a curse passed through generations of control, repression, and fear? Or was it a biological breakdown worsened by isolation? Or maybe it was both. Andrea was originally convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison, but years later, her conviction was overturned after it was revealed an expert witness gave false testimony. In 2006, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was committed to a mental institution where she remains to this very day. She doesn't watch TV. She doesn't socialize. She spends her days painting, often painting angels. There are a few cases more heartbreaking than this, not because of monsters, but because of what happens when we ignore the signs. Mental illness, religious delusion, silence. Was Andrea Yates a monster? Was she a victim? Or just one part of tragic generational pattern that spiraled into horror? I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you believe Andrea was truly mad, or was something else at work that day?
The Bender family, 1800s serial killer vanish.
They welcomed travelers with warm meals and a place to rest, but inside their cabin, something unholy waited. They were called the Bloody Benders, a family who slaughtered innocent people, buried them under their home, and then vanished without a trace. To this very day, no one knows what happened to them. This is the true story of America's first serial killing family. The year is 1870. The Bender family, John Sr., his wife Elvira, and their 2 adult children, Kate and John Jr., settle along the Osage Trail in Labette County, Kansas. They open a small inn and grocery stop for weary travelers heading west. To outsiders, they seem like a quiet immigrant family, but there's something off about them. Elvira speaks very little English. Locals call her a she-devil. Kate claims to be a psychic and spiritual healer, offering seances to the dead. And the men, stiff, strange, and cold. Guests would sit at the kitchen table, placed over a hidden trap door. Behind them, a curtain concealing someone lurking in the shadows. While guest ate, one of the Benders would strike them from behind with the hammer. Then they'd slit their throat to finish the job. The body would drop through the trap door into the basement. Later, they'd bury the bodies in the orchard. Some victims were found with crushed skulls. Others were found not at all. People started disappearing. Men traveling alone, families with money. But back then, that wasn't unusual. Until one man didn't disappear quietly. Dr. William York came looking for a missing friend and stopped by the Bender's Inn. He was never seen again. But Dr. York had powerful brothers. One was a Kansas senator, and they launched a full investigation. Eventually, locals searched the Bender's property. What they found was absolutely horrifying. Under the floorboards in the orchard, dozens of bodies were discovered, stacked, rotting, mutilated. Some buried with nothing but their boots sticking out of the dirt. One was a child, only 8 years old, found beside their father, both with crushed skulls. The Benders were gone. They fled in the night, vanished before anyone realized what they had done. No trial, no justice, just blood-soaked earth and an empty house. The Bender family was never caught. Some say they split up, fleeing to different states under fake names. Others believe they were killed by vigilantes who didn't want to wait for the law. Over the years, women were arrested claiming to be Kate Bender, but none were confirmed. The land where the cabin once stood became cursed ground. Locals report it quite often. Blood that wouldn't wash away. Whispers in the wind. Shadowy figures walking the orchard at night. Many refuse to even go near it. Some say the evil never left, and some say the devil lives there. A family of killers, a home of horrors, a mystery still unsolved more than a century later. The bloody Benders may be gone, but the fear they left behind still lingers in the soil.
The Smurl family curse.
We're in the home of Janet and Jack Smurl.
This is the chilling story of the Smurl family haunting. Case so terrifying that Ed and Lorraine Warren called it one of the darkest they had ever faced.
Invisible, I don't care if you want to call it a devil or a ghost or a demon. There's something in this home has the intelligence to inflict physical and psychological harm.
And some believe it wasn't just the house that was cursed, it was the family. See, it all started in 1973 when Jack and Janet Smurl moved into a quiet duplex in West Pittston, Pennsylvania with their 4 daughters.
Don is 16 years old, Heather is 13, Shannon and Karen are 7.
Jack's parents lived next door in the attached unit.
My mother and my father, Mary and John Smurl.
At first, it was ordinary, but soon, strange things began happening. Water pipes burst without cause. Appliances caught fire, though they weren't even plugged in. Loud banging echoed through the walls, but there was nothing on the other side. The Smurls thought they were dealing with a rundown home.
Well, my name is Jack Smurl, my wife Janet.
Became aware that something paranormal was taking place. What preceded it? What do you feel might have triggered it? Was there any Ouija boards that were played with in this home? Was seances held in the home?
Not to our knowledge.
But what they were really dealing with was just the beginning. The strange activity grew darker and more aggressive. Janet was violently grabbed by invisible hands. Jack claimed he was sexually assaulted by a female demon and even levitated. The daughters reported seeing dark figures in their bedrooms. Their German Shepherd was thrown against a wall. Rooms would suddenly fill with the smell of rotten flesh. The walls oozed with a thick, brown liquid. Crosses would flip upside down, and no matter how many times they cleaned the house, it would stain. The activity wasn't isolated to one room. It followed them from floor to floor to floor, like something was stalking them. Here's where the story shifts. Some say the Smurls were already cursed. Jack's mother, who lived on the other side of the duplex, reported seeing figures long before the haunting escalated. And according to some accounts, the family experienced paranormal events in previous homes. Could it be that the house wasn't haunted? Could it be that the family themselves, a generational curse or spiritual attachment, exist? Whatever it was, it wasn't going away. By 1986, the activity was so intense, the family reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren,
We are in their home on February 14, 1986.
famous demonologist. The Warrens quickly declared that the Smurls were under attack from a powerful inhuman demonic entity. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, claimed she could feel its presence. It said this wasn't just a ghost. This was a full-scale demonic infestation. They attempted multiple exorcisms, with priests blessing the house and commanding the spirits, but the demon didn't budge. If anything, it got angrier. Jack began having vivid nightmares of a dark man with animal features, hissing in Latin. Janet was pushed downstairs. Even visitors claimed to see black masses moving through the hallways. And then the skeptics arrived. See, not everyone believed the Smurls. A local reporter suggested it was a publicity stunt. A psychologist speculated that Jack suffered from a mental illness. Neighbors said they never heard or saw anything strange whatsoever. But what about the audio recordings the Warrens claimed to have captured?
We were saying prayers out loud together. There were louver doors on the closet, but the carpet was so thick, and they never had the doors planed down, so you had to, like, pick the doors up, you know, to open them, and going back and forth like crazy, the doors were. The television lit up, but it wasn't plugged in. All the things that were on the bureau began to dance.
What about the bruises, the voices, the physical attacks? To this very day, skeptics say the Smurl haunting lacks physical proof. But the family, you question? They never changed their story, not even once. Eventually, after years and years of trauma, the Smurls moved out. They hoped a new home would bring peace. But even in the new house, the activity continued. That's when the family started to believe they weren't being haunted by a place, they were being hunted by something attached to their bloodline. Some kind of curse, a punishment, or worse, a spiritual parasite feeding on their faith. In 1988, a book titled The Haunted was published, telling their story in full detail. And in 1991, a TV movie of the same name aired, shocking viewers across the country. But see, Jack Smurl passed away in 2017, Janet in 2021. Both of them maintained until the very end. So what do you think? Was the Smurl family truly cursed, or was it mass hysteria, religious fear, and trauma manifesting as horror?
Some families are haunted by secrets, others by something that they can't explain. Whether you believe these stories are madness or something of the supernatural, one thing is certain: the past doesn't always stay buried. If you made it this far, thank you for joining me on this chilling journey. Now be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, or you all will be haunted. Sweet nightmares.
Woke up this morning laying next to a dead girl, eyes closed, living in a dead world. I don't know what is real or what is not. All I know is last night I seen God. I was taught there's no such thing as a freaking ghost, until I went looking, damn, I found them really close. EVPs and my camera saying please get out. I don't think the evil, I'm just trying to help them out.
I see dead people.
Every time I'm on the hunt,
I see dead people.
But dog, I never run. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I was looking in the mirror when I think I seen a demon. Looked like the devil, but hell, I never seen him. I was reading Revelations when I heard the voice of Jesus. Daddy left my mama cause she wouldn't kill a fetus. I spend most my nights having sessions in the cemeteries, finding all my prospects, checking the obituaries. They think I'm crazy Craig, I got that scary J type to play the Ouija, laying in a shallow grave, turning shit up a notch like no one else. I see dead people, yeah, maybe I could use some help. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. Man, I see a spirit, I know that you can hear it. I don't even fear it, you can tell that I'm near it. When I burn the sage, all the evils come to rage. When I'm on the stage, groupie witches want my babies. Hey girl, I can haunt you like Zozo. No clown shit, you can call me Bozo. I'm just lurking like Freddy, and here he comes. Claw marks down your back, yeah, you better run. They can see it in the shadows, yeah, they know it's done. I see dead people, I'm about to fuck this nun. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. I see dead people every time I'm stepping out. I see dead, I see dead, I see dead people. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof. There's some spirits in this house, raise the roof.